Hello guys and welcome back to Irons United's YouTube channel. This week West Ham take on Liverpool. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing we'll never know. We will find out on Saturday. It's a 5:30 kick-off and it's on BT Sports live in front of the cameras, in front of millions of people. So what West Ham's going to turn up? You'll recognise some faces from the channel. We've got Dan, Irons United, we've got Luc, Irons United, and we've got a very familiar face all the way from West Ham Fan TV, Dan. Dan, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, great, mate. Great, mate. Thanks for having me on. It seems like I've done all the rounds, all the channels, so it's fitting that I come with you guys now.
Absolutely, mate. Thanks very much for coming on today, and all the work you guys are doing over at West Ham Fan TV is massive. Everyone appreciates all the stuff you do, so keep on the good work, guys. Yeah, so may as well let's go straight into it, and we'll throw the first question to you, Dan. What are your feelings and thoughts towards the game on Saturday? Dan, West Ham Fan TV, Dan, that's to you.
I was thinking, yeah, no. Initially, I was sort of like worried, like really worried, and oddly a little bit less worried. I mean, we're awful. Don't get me wrong. We've got some injuries, but Liverpool are so inconsistent. I mean, they've relied massively on Mane, and without Mane, they're not as good. Now they've got Coutinho out, Lallana out, and the defence is shocking. If we just go out from the start and try and get at them, we could take something. We might not. This is West Ham. You never know, really. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and that's something I think I mentioned at the beginning there. We don't know what West Ham's going to turn up. Look, I mean, we've come off a really disappointing result against Palace. We were that close from getting the victory and it got snatched away at the end. We've done our review, but what West Ham is going to turn up, because yeah, Liverpool's defence is struggling, but what is West Ham? West Ham are struggling, so where does that leave us?
I don't think any fan can ever really tell what team's going to turn up, because sometimes we have a really below par squad out and we tend to do better with that than we would do a full strength one, or what some papers a full strength one. Yeah. But I thought for first half we were fantastic against Palace, and the second half we just decided to defend for the whole 45 minutes, and then in the end it broke down. And I'm too gutted from the games to talk about that too much, but I was petrified with the thought of Saturday night coming along and Liverpool just tearing us apart with the work rate that we haven't got, and the players that we haven't got pace wise. But now we're hearing about the injuries and the absences that Liverpool have got, and it makes you think, well, maybe we'll concede 3 goals rather than the 5 goals, or along them lines. So it's a little bit less than the goal difference. But and then you hear that our back line is crippling now with injuries as well. It doesn't make for good reading. It makes, as it's Halloween, it's even more nightmares for us. That's kind of ironic. But look, that's West Ham in a minute. And if it isn't the squad, it's the back room. If it ain't the back room, it's the management staff. So there's always drama. There's always something to worry about. But yeah, hopefully we get a decent turnout Saturday, whatever happens.
Over to you, Dan, from Irons United. I mean, we were mentioning there, it's pretty much a game of 2 halves right now. I mean, we're witnessing against Tottenham a really awful first half display, and then rejuvenated West Ham, a different side. We don't recognise them playing in the second half, and then it was vice versa at the Crystal Palace game, where the first half we were fantastic, and then moving into the second half we just let it all drop. I mean, what is going on? What do you think we need to do to keep that, or maintain that level of commitment from the players and keep the motivation up?
It's the club as a whole. There's no consistency at all from top to bottom. It's a massive joke. Bilic is clueless. You know, he just, you know, you see, I was taking the mick in the last preview show we did when he was giving it all this against Spurs when it was 2-2. He was clueless when we were drawing then. He was, and it's unforgivable. There was individual mistakes, but as the whole, the team has to take. You know, they all have to take the blame for that result against Palace. But it's unforgivable to go 2-0 up, be performing the way we were in the first half, and then come out in the second half and it's like they didn't give a shit. You know, silly mistake at the back, and then you're taking that into a Liverpool game. But I said, didn't I? We'd beat Spurs, we'd either get beat or draw against Palace, and then we've got this run of 7 games where we've got to face Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City. You watch us beat a couple of them. You watch us beat, because that's just West Ham. It is. And what's going to happen as well, we're probably going to get turned over by Liverpool at the weekend. And then the board are going to do this thing where they're going to go 2 more games. And then he's going to pull it back again. And it's just a roller coaster at the minute. But there's just masses of inconsistencies. You know, where the manager's concerned, the players are concerned, the tactics, the board, everything. And I just think all the stuff going off the pitch is affecting on the pitch. You know, it can't be great for the players to be reading in the newspapers each and every day, is Bilic safe, is he not safe? Yeah. Do we play for him? Are we expecting someone new to come in? It didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me. It was awful. The TV remote got slung across the room on Saturday when that goal went in. But I really don't know. I really don't know what to say to you, and I really don't know how to answer that question.
When you look at the stats of West Ham Liverpool, I think we're getting some stats in here online with I don't know how true they are, but Liverpool have beaten West Ham 71 times, 36 games have been drawn, and we've won 28 times. So if the stats are to be believed, we're not really got a good result record against Liverpool. Now, we do know history does kind of say that, out with ones that I can maybe pinpoint out in my head are Ogbona's winner in the Cup, which I don't think we'll forget. But Dan, West Ham Fan TV, what do you think moving forward into this game? I mean, do you think Liverpool are going to turn up and think West Ham are just, I mean, they're awful, they're getting into the halves? Like, do they take the league experience against Tottenham into consideration, or are they going to come, are they frightened of us on our home turf?
I think definitely they'll probably be thinking, like, they'll be expecting to get 3 points here, that this is a game that they should definitely be winning. You know, they have every right to think that. So I think they will come with confidence. We're sort of on the floor, but hopefully, if there's not that expectation on us, hopefully then we can play with a bit less pressure. I mean, we're going to be at home, but we can just play no expectations and give them a game. But the thing that I'm worried about, you know, and we talk about nearly winning the game against Palace. The only reason we actually drew that was because Palace couldn't finish. So we kind of have to rely on Liverpool not being able to finish really to get anything out of this, because they're going to have a lot of chances. And it's how we come back and take our chances at the end of the day. So let's just hope that they ain't got their finishing boots on at the end of the day.
The thing is, interestingly, no club has created more chances than Liverpool this season, which is mental when you think about the amount of goals that City are scoring. They do tend to create a lot of chances, but don't put them all away. So we do need lady luck, I think, in our corner on Saturday night. You know, like we need to hope that they are missing regularly, like they have done most of the season.
Yeah. Definitely. Swansea and Huddersfield, I think the 2 games we won, we were awful in those games as well.
I mean, if you bring up that Swansea game, Dan, if you think about it, when everyone left that stadium,
do we have to?
Well, it's just how deflated we felt. It's just how deflated we felt from a victory. In my modern life of supporting West Ham, it's the most deflated I've ever felt from us winning a game. So
takes you back to the whole win with Big Sam. When we played and beat Hull,
exactly.
I'll take playing awful and beating Liverpool though all day long, mate.
Yeah, I'll
take that all season. I'll take that all season. But I tell you, look. We mentioned earlier on there's a few players missing from Liverpool, so we'll talk about West Ham in a minute. But with regards to Liverpool, is that something that West Ham look at as their Achilles heel? Is that something that we're going to take advantage of, or does that actually matter when your football team is West Ham?
The funny, they've got to in a way, really, because it's going to be a massive influence. But the funny thing is, we're all saying about Bilic having a job on the line, having on the verge of losing his job. I think Klopp's kind of got the same thing going on in Liverpool, because there's been this kind of non-stop approach from the fans saying they're either drawing a lot of games, they should be winning, or they've got a wrong approach to games where their defending is awful at times. For example, Lovren at the back is a culprit that is constantly on social media getting badgered for his bad mistakes at the back. So for Liverpool, Liverpool's mentality coming to us is like, well, you can't afford to lose, but nor can we. You know, not as if they've just been battering everyone in the league and they're coming to us thinking, okay, we can maybe sacrifice a few points to you if we do well in the Champions League or whatever. But look, injuries to main players in the opposition, that's always going to make you get up for the game and think we've got more of a chance here. But we should have been beating Palace. So it's one of them where you're 2-0 up half time, going and cruising, and you think, oh no, we don't have to score any more goals. We'll just hang back and just hope we don't concede any more and take the 3 points away. I'm over the moon personally that Mane ain't playing, or Coutinho or Lallana, but I guarantee you, I walked to that game and I come out saying, well, they might have all just put out the youth team because he's not going to make it. It hasn't made a bit of difference. Let's just hope Bilic thinks that and puts out a different squad to, counteract that as well. But I'm not entirely sure what they're going to.
Still got players like Firmino and I think Salah.
Yeah.
I think he's fit, isn't
That's
he,
what
as
I was going to bring up, Dan, and over to you, Dan, Irons United. I mean, you look at the players they're going to miss, but then you've got other players like Salah and Firmino, and then Daniel Sturridge, because I mean, for weeks and months in the summer saga of us being interested in him, and he's an injury-prone player, but I tell you what, when this guy's fit, he's lethal and he's dangerous, and that's not just because of the partnership he struck up with Luis Suarez when he was there, but it's from previous history throughout football. He's yeah. What's your thoughts on?
It's written in the stars. If we've been being linked with us in the summer as well, it's written in the stars. It'll come on at some point and score. We all know it is. Yeah, they've got injuries. They've got key players out. Them three guys that are out and missing and were key players for them last season. Mane especially, he's a top Premier League player. I think we can all agree on that. But they have still got, like you say, they've got Salah, they've got Firmino, they've got Emre Can. Wijnaldum's starting to come into his own as well, holding that midfield down. Their biggest problem, and the way you win the game, is you pressure that defence. But the trouble West Ham have got is we don't know how to pressure. We don't know that high pressure game. But you do. You look at any team that's beat Liverpool. Look at Watford, first game of the season. They pressure that defence. They get a 3-3 draw. That's how you beat Liverpool. I think going into this game, don't worry about the players up top. Don't worry about them. What you want to worry about is having some energy and pressuring that back four. The goalkeepers are ropey at Liverpool. Test them with shots, create opportunities. That's what we need.
Dan, from West Ham Fan TV again. I'm going to have to keep doing this throughout the whole show, but something that we've really enjoyed the past couple of weeks is the motivation and the energy that Andre Ayew's brought to the team. There's been a lot of criticism from the team in terms of pressing, what Dan from our channel mentioned. And the biggest concern I've got is that we do drop off. I think I mentioned it in one of the last previews. I feel like Bilic sometimes tries to go for the old school Italian setup and he tries to defend that lead, and we just don't have the group of men there that could be able to do that. So when it comes to the setup for the day, I mean, how do you see West Ham setting up?
It's a real tough one to see. I mean, I like the idea of having Andy Carroll on the bench coming as a super sub, but for this game, for Liverpool, I think he should start for a fact, because it's one of them games that he'll probably be up for, and I think he'll do well against their defence. But yeah, Ayew, he's been a player that I've sort of defended for a while, because he's someone who I think should be played like Hernandez, in the box, put the balls in, and he'll finish it, not on the wing. He's not that sort of player. But yeah, I haven't got a clue what Bilic is going to do, really. I mean, we've got all these injuries to a lot of key players. It's going to be a tough one. But
that's something we can talk about just now. Is there's rumours that Font's going to be missing, Reed's missing, Zabaleta's picked up a card, he's suspended for the game. There's rumours that Cresswell might be missing from the game. So when we talk about the back line, I mean, really, what are we going to... The biggest thing I'm worried about is the fact that every single game we go in with different formations, different players, and there's no consistency in our team, and it's the biggest first problem we're going to have. So
that's why it's so hard to predict what the line is going to be now.
We have it each and every week when we try and predict the starting 11, don't we? What tactics they're going to use, what 11 players is going to use.
But previously when you do your kind of scouting on the other teams, you can kind of predict pretty much the setup they're going to do. You have a few selections, but right now under Bilic, under the current West Ham structure, we have no idea. We genuinely have no idea. One week he plays Masuaku left back, the next week he's dropped and Cresswell's on a wing back, and then the next week it's Masuaku on a wing back, and then he's swapped it over and Cresswell's back on the left back, and we don't really know what's going on. Ayew's playing on the left wing, then he's playing up front. So if we talk about the back line, who's there and who can line up? And if we base this on, I mean, what are we going to base this on, a 4-4-2 formation?
I think it's the only way we can with the amount of centre backs that are missing. Like, I don't see him, but I can't see how he can go with his usual. I think
he'll go three at the back. Personally, I think he'll go with Rice, Ogbonna, and Kiyate. with maybe Kiati pulling in to the midfield more when we go into attack, but then coming back when we're defending, and then using Barham and Masuaku as wing backs. And I think based on form and the current formation we've been playing lately, that's the only thing he can do. And even though it's a bit predictable, when you've got injuries to all them players like you've just listed, it's kind of his must. And you know, I think Rice was a bit unfortunate not to get a start against Palace, but unfortunately he comes on and then we concede, which is just the luck really. But for me, that's the only thing to go with, really.
Yeah, of course. What do you guys agree? Like, is there anyone else there that can step in? I mean, is it going to be one of those cases where he's going to bring another player in, like Antonio, and put him on the wing back position? Or...
Well, Ginge isn't ready, is he? Ginge ain't ready to come back yet, so he can't really go in there. It does make sense what Luke's saying though, to go for it at the back, especially with Liverpool and their attacking threats. So
Antonio needs to be on the bench though. I really don't feel that he's fit. Yeah. Antonio, from what I've seen.
I was saying this, funny enough, Dan, in our last preview about how I'd like to see him given a couple of games where, if he does play, he's impacting the game from the bench, because he's just not fit enough. You can see he isn't, and I think that's a lot of the reason why he's making silly mistakes like he did against Palace.
Yeah,
he's mentally not there because he knows he's not, his body's not right and he's not fit. And you know, like, I want to stick up for him right now as well, while we've got the chance. In that he got so much stick over that against Palace. Yes, it was a naive thing to do, but we can't go blaming that one player. You know, we can't go attacking him either. He's been one of our best players since he joined. And the last thing that he wants to be bloody, you know, seeing and reading is all the West Ham fans coming down on him, because he'll soon tell his agent to go and find him another club. He won't, you know. It's not just his fault. It's a collective. You know.
No, I agree. I think it's where it's so fresh at the time. You're like, you see that, and you're like, you've got to have that someone to blame. You've got to have someone to point the finger at the time and to vent your anger at. And obviously he's the target, and then things calm down. But overall, I mean, he's a great player. He works his arse off, and everyone makes mistakes. I mean, we've lost a lot of games based on mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen some stats this week. What is it? How many points have we lost from just errors from our team? It's just crazy. Like,
ridiculous.
The whole that all those errors, but then if those errors had been taken away, and then you're looking at some of the victories we could have got, it still just doesn't look pretty. The club doesn't look good from top to bottom, in my opinion. That is, and from some of the other guys, it's just there's just a lot of toxic kicking about there. But
we've had that since the farewell bowling season.
Yeah,
you know, Creswell was making mistakes, Jenkinson, Adrian running out and getting the red card. Just so many silly mistakes. And how do you coach that out? It's a tough one. How do you prepare for that? Individual errors.
Before we move on, a tweet's just come through there saying a man we're going to mention is Tony Martinez. He's actually scored tonight again in the Checker Trade Trophy against Bristol Rovers.
Of course he has. He loves it, doesn't he?
He does.
He loves it.
Now, I know we're going to talk about... let's just go into the forward line. Let's just move this nicely, and then we'll come back into the midfield in a minute. But, I mean, we've got an informed player of Ayew. We've got Chicharito, who scored him. I mean, from Ayew's performance and his goal, I feel like Chicharito's just gone kind of hidden under the radar. But what an absolute and utter goal, like, skills. I was going to say a baller, like, this guy is a baller, he is a baller, I keep using that word, but the ability that this guy's got when the ball's put into the box very quickly, he can just find that space, and that, you could totally see the excitement in his face, not just from the fact he scored a goal, but you could totally tell he was going, that's what I've been waiting for all the fucking time. Just put that ball in the box and I will be there. Put the ball in the box on the ground and I'll be there. But then he scores loads of goals from his head as well. So it was first time for me. It was the fact that it was the first time ball. There was no time to think about it. Creswell had no time to think about it. He just put the ball in and Chicharito was there. So yeah, I've gone on the Chicharito bandwagon. We've got Chicharito, we've got Ayew, we've got Carroll. So what are we going to do? Are we going to go with one up top, leave the man isolated again, or are we going to bring up two? I'm going to bring that to you, Dan, West Ham Fan TV. You
can't drop Ayew, can you? Like, 3 goals in the last 2 games. He's our top goal scorer. It'd be very, very hard to drop him. So, but then dropping Chicharito, you can tell he hates being on the bench. You see it in his face. But I don't know. I know I said about Carroll earlier, like being an important player, maybe in this game, but based on form and goals scored and things like that, I suppose you have to put your faith in Chicharito and Ayew, and then bring Carroll off the bench. Like I said, I think that's probably the best way to go. Is stick with those 2 up top.
Yeah.
just get the balls into them.
Luke, are you in agreement with that, or have you got is your Carroll love coming back through?
But he'll always be there until he does something to annoy me, like Sacco. But it's just when you said there, Dan, you just said that Ayew's our top goal scorer. I mean, before Spurs, you'd be thinking, how the hell is he our top goal scorer with all the criticism he gets? And the really ironic thing is the fact that Hernandez has scored and Ayew scored in the same game. And for weeks, almost months now, we've been going about this partnership. We want a Carroll and Chicharito partnership, big man, little man. They want a Sacco Hernandez partnership, and it could well be, very ironically, that possibly the best partnership we've got is Ayew Hernandez, because on Saturday they were bouncing off each other like there was no tomorrow. It was fantastic to watch. It was quite. I was watching it going, surely this can't be the partnership that's going to happen. But I'm more than merry if it does happen.
I tell you what, Luke, you totally did. I mean, you kind of nailed that on the head there. Like,
do you want to know why it works? Because Ayew does all the work that Hernandez doesn't want to
do. Yeah. And which is what you were saying last time, weren't you, Dan? And
he doesn't like doing that dirty work. He's never played for a team where he's had to do it, and he's got a player like Ayew who will work his socks off for 90 minutes
to be
do
fair,
that work for him.
Yeah, you just said that, Anton. You were just saying that Hernandez is pretty crying out, saying, "Thank God I finally got some service once this season." I said exactly the same thing when Cresswell put that ball in. I thought, thank God someone's actually had the foresight. It was a brilliant cross as well, right along a low-driven cross, caught the defenders out as well.
I think Cresswell. It started by Ayew as well.
Yeah. It's brilliant play. All three of them, all involved. I think regarding the Liverpool game, you kind of got almost a win-win situation, because I think if Carroll up there, whoever their centre backs are, whoever's defending for Liverpool, won't be able to handle Carroll. I've seen Lovren go out with so many headers this season and win none of them. Or if he does, they're not very good cleared headers. They're pretty much mistakes after that. And then because on the other hand, you've got two fairly nippy, small strikers in Ayew Hernandez who can cause slow, immobile defenders problems. And barring service and movement, you could probably work that to your benefit. You have to start Ayew Hernandez. There's no chance. It'd be more of an injustice than anything else, in my opinion. But it could work either way. If he starts Carroll just to surprise Liverpool, that could work as well. But genuinely, you've got to start with Ayew Hernandez for me, and see where it goes from then. If it doesn't work for, say, the first half or half an hour and you get absolutely nowhere near the goal, then maybe change it after that. But I wouldn't bring Carroll in. It'd be like a kind of like a shot in the foot with Ayew and Hernandez, because they both scored against Crystal Palace.
Well, history is showing that we can't predict what's going to happen. We have no idea what the formation is going to be. We have no idea what team is going to start. We probably can only really predict a couple of positions that's in the team. But if we're talking, let's move into the midfield. Dan, from our channel, what do you think he's going to do? Is he going to try and set up a team that's going to shut up shop to stop Liverpool playing through the middle? And by doing that, does Noble keep his place?
Unfortunately, at the moment, Bilic doesn't know how to shut up shop. That's.
But he tries to. Hence the reason we lose.
He does try to, but he doesn't know how to. We concede on a lot of occasions. I was looking at a stat today. We concede almost 2 goals a game at the moment. Like it's crazy how many goals we're letting in. So he doesn't really know how to do that.
And I'd be intrigued to know out with those stats, including last year and the year before, because even in the year at the Boleyn, we still conceded a lot of goals. And
you've got to think as well, we've been keeping clean sheets, so when we do concede, we conceded quite a lot. That's the trouble. We don't just concede 1 goal in a game. We usually concede 2, 3, 4 goals. But yeah, I think if we're going to go based on what Luke said, Koyate drops back into the defence. I think it's going to be Noble in the centre of midfield. Is Obiang back? Is he fit to come back yet? Because if he is, I think he comes in. I think I think of all the players that dictate the midfield, it's him. He's the one, and I think you need a player like that in a game like this. I would keep Noble in there though. I think this is the sort of game I think he's done brilliantly in the last 2 games. He's proved that we need a proper leader in there, and he's given us that. He's not the player that he was, 5 years ago, but that happens to every player. But if anything, he's proved that he can still do it the last couple of games. And when your team's struggling, you need someone that loves the club and he's going to put in that effort. And I think he has. I think you know, if we were to drop
I-
Ayew and Hernandez, to drop Noble at the moment, it would be an injustice as well. He didn't have the best first half, don't get me wrong, against Spurs, but he's been pretty solid since he's come back.
Does anyone know actually what started off the scrap after the game Saturday? Because I've been trying to find research on it, but I can't really tell what it was all
some
about.
stuff kicking about saying that he just didn't, he wasn't being respectful or something at the end of the game.
I wouldn't shake his hand or
Shake
something
his
like
hand,
that.
yeah. So
That for me is something that goes against him with the captaincy wise. And I'm not saying I haven't seen anything in training, I haven't seen anything about the club saying there's been any criticisms of him. But I looked at him after that game, getting involved with the scraps. I think even James Tompkins just told him to calm himself down. So he's going way over the top. But I thought, so that's our captain. And I don't get me wrong, I love to see passion as much as the next bloke. But believe me, I mean, I used to love the old videos of Dix kicking someone into Rose Head, but genuinely.
or stamping on John Spencer's head.
Well, I'm not going there. It's not the 80s anymore. No, it just seemed to me, they're thinking, well, you know, do you need that again if it all goes pear-shaped?
Unfortunately, Luke, I think the problem we've got is Noble is one of us with footballing ability.
Yeah.
That's the trouble, and I think he can see how shit it is from the inside. We only look at it from out here. He's a fan. At the end of the day, he's a fan of that football club. He's followed us since he was, you know, a kid.
Point.
And so, unfortunately for him, he sees it like a fan does, and he's seeing all this shit go on, and it probably just boiled over.
Part of me does love to see it. Don't be wrong. I was thinking this. Part of me was going, yeah, go on, Noble. Sooner if you know, go for it a little bit if you want to. But the other, I know that's bad. I shouldn't encourage it. But I'm just saying it was initially because I was getting frustrated obviously as well. I just split a second. I just thought, hold on, you are the captain here. You know, you've got the armband around you. Maybe you need to be a little bit professional. But
he seems to know just how far to take it though, because he gets he never really gets sent off for these scraps, but he sort of lets players know, like, don't take the piss in a way.
Yeah.
Listen, if we have a Mark Noble that performs the way he performed against Tottenham last season, then we can go into many games knowing we've got that sort of player that's backing us up with the passion, making the strong tackles. But I do agree with you, Luke. I think he is capable of flying off the handle, and I get your point, Dan. Sometimes we do need to watch that because that can really go against us, specifically in the first half when it's got the pressure of the big stadium, the noise, and he knows the BT Sports is there and the millions of people are watching. That the pressure's going to be on, and if he throws in a dirty tackle and these sort of players against Liverpool, I mean, they're going to milk that as much as possible, especially if they see someone like Mark Noble coming on and having that passion. But over to yourself, Dan. What are your thoughts on that whole situation with the midfield? Do you have any thoughts on the Mark Noble situation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm, you know, like a lot of West Ham fans, a big Mark Noble fan. I think certain games you need him in, and certain times you need him in. I think now is the time we need a Mark Noble, when we are on the floor and when there's a lot. It just seems not. I don't know whether it's certain players don't care or players are just apathetic or what, but there's certainly something missing there, and you need that leadership. And I think for me, Mark Noble needs to be in that midfield. I think Obiang is fit because he was going to come on for Palace as a sub, but right, yeah. I think something happened. Didn't end up coming on. So.
Font got injured, I think, and then he had to swap with Rice.
Yeah. So you could see Noble Obiang if you look at that back three situation, straight at the back situation. So, but yeah, for me, especially big games like that, like it's Liverpool, he'll get himself up for it at home. I say Noble should start. Yeah,
we've got Noble, we've got Lanzini back. It's going to take him a run of games after being injured to get back into the mix, and with a fully fit. I mean, there are positives to take from. You look at the two half performances against Tottenham and Crystal Palace, and you just put that into one game, and we can, in theory, be unstoppable. But in the second half, it was down to Joe Hart against Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace's finishing that stopped us from getting absolutely smashed. And a lot of people have criticised Jimmy Carragher's comments, but he was categorically correct. In the second half, we could have got smashed against Crystal Palace, and that's the worrying thing. That is the worrying thing. But for me, when you look at, just go back to basics of football, I've said it all along, and I've mentioned it since the beginning of the season, that we just don't press. We don't know how to press. And the minute you start in a game and you don't press, the opposition knows, and then they pile the pressure onto you straight away. And I honestly believe that every opposition team that comes against West Ham don't expect us to press, so we're instantly on the back foot, even if we score. And when we played against Crystal Palace, I think we played on the momentum of Ayew. To be honest, I really think we played on the momentum of Ayew, because he ran around like a blue arse fly. He just was everywhere, anywhere. He had that energy, and all the other players looked around and thought, "Oh God, man, what's happened to him?" But to be honest, he was played in position, and when you're playing,
makes a big difference.
It does.
Makes a big difference.
And so one of you guys said, I think it was Dan, you had mentioned that you've not criticised Ayew, and I've not criticised Ayew because I've always been a fan, but if you look at his stats from previous clubs, and when he plays in position, he makes a difference, and that's only going to motivate a player. I know they're all professional footballers, but when you're played out of position, it's frustrating. If you've ever played football and you're told to go and play another position, and it's a position you just don't like, you get on with it, you get paid a lot of money, but if it's not your ability, you can't show off your ability, you get frustrated, you get down, and then you just start not performing. So there was problems at the Swansea game with Ayew. He couldn't control the ball, but no wonder his head was down. He was frustrated. Fans were getting on top of him. Then you put him in this position. He's got a little bit of motivation. Then he scores a couple of goals, and bang, that's the situation. And it's the same throughout the team, to be honest. Now I've rambled on a lot there, so I'm going to pass this over to one of you guys. We've talked about pretty much. We don't know what the formation. Again, every preview we do, we have no idea of the formation. We have no idea of the team. There's one more talking debate we want to talk about and a lot of people go on about it, Hart or Adrian for this one. I mean, can you drop Hart after Crystal Palace game?
No, you can't.
No.
Do you know what? I just jump in here first, but it's interesting how in the last preview, me and Luke especially were sitting here going, I think after the Spurs game, you got to start Adrian against Crystal Palace because of that performance, the passion, blah 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 blah, and then it didn't happen. Hart comes in, you knew it was going to happen, and you were like, I think we go back to Hart and all the rest of it. But when he puts in a second half display like he did against Palace, he basically saved the point. He saved that point. We should have got battered.
Before anyone else talks, I'm not saying that just because of that one performance, that's the only reason he starts. But he's been brought in to start, in my opinion, for every game. So I don't think we're going to see an Adrian unless Hart is absolutely disastrous in games, consistent games.
But he can't be dropped on the basis of that performance against Palace. He can't be dropped. And do you know what as well? Like I think a lot of West Ham fans came around as well when they watched the post-match interview as well. When a lot of people were like, oh, he's only on loan, he's earning X amount of money, he don't care. Did you see how much he cared in that interview? He gives a shit, mate. He wants to win football games.
Dan, what's your opinion on the whole kind of goalkeeping front?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, lads. I mean, it was tough, watching that Spurs game reminded me how much, why I do love Adrian, and the passion that he shows. He's very passionate, but Joe Hart is a passionate guy. He's not been here that long, but like you said, he's been brought in to start. It's not going to be much, very likely that Adrian's going to get in front of him in the league, and he's also got that leadership ability, Joe Hart. He leads from the back a lot more than Adrian. So yeah, I don't want to see Adrian leave the club. It's sort of like I'm torn between my old girlfriend and this new love. And I don't know. I like them both a lot, but for me, it's Joe Hart. I would say like I say, he's been brought in to be our first choice keeper. That's what he's going to be, unless injury or, like you said, a big severe clanger.
Yeah. So, listen, we're coming to the end of the show, and before we move on, I just want to make sure, please guys, subscribe to our channel, follow us all on our social media links. We'll put a link in. Obviously, you will all know about West Ham Fan TV, but make sure you subscribe to their channel. Make sure I'll get all our Twitter links and everything in the descriptions below. If there's any questions, please ask us. But before we go, it's back to that time where we don't like doing it, and I don't think any of us have got this prediction or any predictions right this season, but putting us well under pressure. And just because you are there, Luke, he's raging. I'm going to.
He's always in first. He's always.
I know. It's funny. That's why.
Okay. Right. Well, stop laughing. It was 4-0 last season. When I think after a few bits of play we capitulated and Coutinho just took us apart. he ain't playing, Mane ain't playing, and we're kind of going to go. I'm really going around and beating around the bush with this prediction. I'm going to go. Okay, let's just go for the scoreline. I'm not going to go on about it too much.
Don't worry, we've got loads of time.
I don't know with you, Anton. I'm going to try and copy you this week. 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't fancy just one little bit. Just in case you've all gobsmacked, I've gone for Liverpool, not West Ham. I've become very realistic the last few weeks and not in one little bit optimistic. So prove me wrong, West Ham.
Yeah.
Do the other way around.
Like that. Dan, West Ham Fan TV, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to overthink this because West Ham have been so unpredictable. We have been crap for the most part, but there's always a shocker like Spurs, and Liverpool ain't been great away. They're weak at the back. They're there to be got at, and I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to say 3-3. That's what I'm going to say. 3-3 draw.
I'll tell you something now. If it's 3-3, I'll buy you a beer. I'll tell you after the game. Because what's a game?
All you're going to buy?
What's a game?
Is that it?
What a game!
Yeah.
A very cheap beer at that.
That's a cheap beer, you know. So
I'll buy you a few then. That's all right. We can sort that out.
If I go 3-3 as well, I'll get one as well.
No, you're right. I have to buy you every week.
Yeah.
Dan, over to you from our channel. So we've got a 3-3. We've got a 3-1 loss to West Ham. Thanks, Luke.
Well, and until the 97th minute at the weekend, I was nearly able to come on here really smug and be the first to got a prediction right, because I went with 2-1, but fucking let me down, didn't they? I'm with Luke. I'm with Luke. I think we'll score. They're terrible at the back, but I just think even with them players missing, I think they'll be good enough. And I'm going to go 3-1 to Liverpool.
Well, I'm going to be the good guy and predict a 2-1 victory for West Ham. I think we're going to change the season around. It's going to start from this one, and we're going to go on a crazy run of 7 wins in a row against the next 7 clubs we play. Oh my god! No,
we're going to be the first team to beat City, are we?
I tell you what. Like we've all said,
I even mentioned City. Yeah, that's Halloween, but
we don't know what West Ham's going to turn up. We just genuinely don't know what West Ham's going to turn up. So we can be so unpredictable. It could be big loss or a scrapey win, or we can score loads of goals and not concede any. Things can change, and what we've seen against them, I mean, I know it's the League Cup, but what we've seen against Tottenham was a team that we didn't predict, or maybe we did predict, but just a total change with motivation. And then we've seen a different performance again against Crystal Palace. So these changes potentially are working, but we don't really, I don't know, do the players have faith in Bilic? We don't know. Maybe this is a topic for another conversation for another show. But yeah, we've put our predictions out there, guys. Please make sure you write any comments below. Let us know any things you want coming up for the show. Make sure you follow our partners at Umbro on Twitter. We'll put their description in below. And yeah, we've got a cool competition which we've already announced, and you just have to subscribe to our channel and you'll win the third top signed by the full current squad. So make sure you get on that and subscribe to our channel. But listen, guys, thanks very much. Dan, West Ham Fan TV, thank you so much for coming on the show. More than welcome anytime. Yeah, and from Dan and Luke as well. So guys, we are Irons United.